Good morning, everyone, and happy first day of December. Not entirely sure how we've gotten here. It feels like it needs to be July or June, even in my mind. But you know what? We're in December. We're that much closer to spring, which is nice, and that much closer to Christmas. So I'd imagine you've been hearing a lot over the past few days about the start of Advent. Not just Celtic Advent, which we talked about some days ago, which is the 40 days before Christmas, but actual Advent, the one that everybody celebrates, which is 4 weeks, the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas. I think Anne talked about it a few days ago. And so we've been doing that. You've perhaps lit your first candle or watched someone light their first candle in the Advent wreath. But today is also a very special day and is perhaps a day I have been looking forward to more, admittedly, than the start of actual Advent 2 days ago. Because today, December 1st, is the day when I can finally start the Advent calendar. You know how I feel about chocolate, y'all. So I haven't opened it yet, but I will get there. This is the regular chocolate Advent calendar. And I have to admit, I'm a little Advent calendar crazy. I mean, I really, really like an Advent calendar. So this is mine. Just wait for it. And then each of the dogs have one because I can't leave them out. And then this behind me is actually one I got last year from a friend. It's a Harry Potter Advent calendar, and every day you take a little figurine out and build a little scene as the days go by. And then I had to try something new this year as well. And so I saw this idea online, where you get one of these pass the parcel things, and it actually has 24 little layers, and in between each layer is supposedly some sort of gift. I hate to open it because it's so cute, but yeah, every day you unwrap a layer and let that be one of your little Advent calendars as well. So we'll see how it goes. I really like Advent calendars. And I should add, there are other ways, if you're looking to mark the season yourself and you don't have an Advent calendar, there are other ways that people also use the time to count down the days. There is the much more generous notion of a reverse Advent calendar, where every day you put a non-perishable food item in a box, or even grab like an article of clothing or something you want to donate, and you just try and do one thing a day up until Christmas, and then obviously after Christmas you donate it. And then there's the other more spiritual side. A lot of people do devotions, special devotion books during this time. I saw a good idea that I did a few years back, where if you read through the Gospel of Luke, if you start today, Luke has 24 chapters. So if you start today, you will finish the Gospel, and thus finish the full story of Jesus on Christmas Eve, which is actually a really nice way to mark the time. And so yeah, Advent calendars and countdowns start today, kind of unofficially, officially. And I think for me, I mean, I do like the little treats, obviously, but it's more than just about getting something or even giving something. If we're doing the reverse thing, it's something about watching time pass. It's the countdown itself. And I personally, aside from just Advent, where it's like sort of culturally sanctioned, I love a good countdown. I mean, I was the one who, before high school graduation, knew exactly how many days were left until we were done. Like, I had a countdown. People would ask me how many more days till graduation, and I could tell them. And then, I'm not the only one. I knew a lady a few years back who had an app on her phone, a countdown app, and it was going for at least a year and a half, the day, hour, minute, second, until retirement, until she could retire. She was counting down until that time. And honestly, I've had those apps before. I actually had one at the start of the first lockdown, and I believe it is titled End of the Crazy. And I noticed it today, and it expired about 6 months ago, and I overestimated or underestimated how long I needed to set that one for. But we try. And And it got me thinking about this notion of counting down and of why we feel the need to do it, and or why, aside from the little gifts, which are obviously nice, why this advent calendar, why these countdowns are so helpful in some ways. And I think it's because waiting is hard. And perhaps that's something that's been made very, very clear to all of us over the past however many months it's been now. We all feel like we're just in this season of waiting. And the advent calendars or whatnot, I think watching the time tick by on the app, or unwrap as you open each layer or open each door, it gives you this feeling that you're doing something, that you're actually participating in marking the time. It makes you feel like you're more active perhaps than you are, because most of the time when we're waiting on something, we are not doing anything. We're just very passively having to wait, as we've seen in the pandemic, but also as we've probably seen in other things. Sometimes the good things. I mean, anyone who's waited for, I don't know, the birth of a child, for example, I'd imagine is probably anticipating those moments, that marking of time. On the other side, anyone who's sat in the hospital waiting for a loved one to pass has also marked that passing of time, but in a very different way. And it's just this sense of having to wait that is so difficult sometimes. And I think one of the things I really love about the season of Advent is that it's a season that tries to teach us how to wait. It is meant to be a season of waiting. Waiting for good things, for hopeful expectations, but it's still waiting. And that's something that we're not very good at as a society, even with how we celebrate Christmas. I mean, this year, gracious, the decorations went up far earlier than usual, which we've all agreed is probably all right considering. But I saw a post this morning on Facebook, and someone said, in a lot of ways, the season that Advent was traditionally meant to be, this waiting, has actually happened after Christmas. There's sort of this season of fasting after we've feasted out of guilt. But that's not what it's meant to be. We're meant to fast and to cleanse ourselves and to, lead up in this expectant way, so that Christmas then is a greater and greater feast. And perhaps we've got it backwards. And, whichever way works, I guess, at this point. But it's just worth thinking about what this season is meant to be. This season of waiting and expectation. And perhaps we can try and find some way in our own lives of maybe making that switch, even in little ways, from the fasting that we do after Christmas out of guilt of eating too many, mince pies and sausage rolls, to maybe prepping ahead. Maybe it's not eating so many mince pies and sausage rolls leading up. Maybe it is doing more of a devotional thing, spending more time in prayer, a bit more like we tend to do at Lent, I guess. Or maybe it is just counting down those days on an Advent calendar, but as we open each door, remembering that passage of time and remembering what we're waiting for, remembering why we receive the little gift or why we open each door and share the treat or the little message or whatever with each other. And it's because, obviously, Christmas is the big celebration of God's coming to be with us. And that is what we're all waiting for now, perhaps more than ever, God with us. We certainly need it, and we certainly need to be reminded of that fact always. But anyway, so that's my little rambling message for Advent. I do hope you have some Advent calendars or have some sort of little trick to pass the time leading up to Christmas. We're in the countdown officially now. And if you have any other fun ways of doing this Advent season, then feel free to share them in the comments. Otherwise, I hope you have a good December, and we'll be counting down together. Christmas is coming. Woo, it's exciting. So take care and happy Advent.